Mud.
We've been watching severe thunderstorms move across our area here this afternoon and evening. Some of these warnings have had what we would refer to as destructive winds. These are worse than your normal 60s. What we just got is now added a tornado warning into the mix. With the tornado warning and a threat to life and property, we go in, we stay in. So we're going to stay with these storms as they move across the area. Current warning, and let me kind of get you caught up on the wide perspective so you can get reference on what we have going on first. We've got a line of severe thunderstorms that cover a chunk of counties just west of Louisville right now. The warnings on these are likely for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. The tornado warning that was just issued is further north. This is on the northwestern part of Lawrence County. Tornado warning is in effect until 8 p.m. and the rotation will clip just the northwestern part of the county. It does not include Bedford, does not include Mitchell. But if you're north of Marshall, again, this is our northern part of Lawrence County, we do have a tornado warning until 8 p.m. Let's track the area where we're most concerned. Moving off to the east-northeast at around 30 miles an hour, puts it in Popcorn 3 minutes from now, Guthrie 20 minutes from now, 25 minutes from now in the Covington area. And as I look at that storm, the rotation on this storm, honestly, is actually good. And I think that this is a legit tornado warning. If you were to ask me, Mark, would you have issued the tornado warning? My answer would have been absolutely. And what you will note here is we have an area where these greens and these reds are right next to each other. So why does that matter? Well, the reds are winds that are going away from the radar. The greens are winds that are going towards the radar. So that indicates that there is rotation within that part of the storm. One of the problems that we have with a scenario like this is we're looking really far away from the radar site. So this is about 7,000 feet above the ground. That is high. A lot of storms rotate a mile above the ground. You always have somewhat of this dilemma when the storms are really far away from the radar. That said, I think a fair tornado warning, I would use caution. If you're in Popcorn, Indiana, which is along Indiana 54, I need you to get downstairs, I need you underneath something, I need you to be in the center part of your house, and I need you to keep away from windows. Guthrie, you have about 9 minutes until that area of rotation gets towards you. We've got Rick looking very closely to make sure that the rotation within that storm does not show any signals of a touchdown. But like I said, we are watching it very closely, and in my opinion, a very legitimate tornado warning. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning here for Lawrence County. This is the southern part of the county. This is close to Bono. This is until 7:45. This is for winds to 60 miles an hour. Another severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford, Harrison, Meade, Washington County. This one is going to go until 7:45. Severe thunderstorm producing winds to 60 miles an hour along that line. And the line shows a little bit of a signal of a bow as you look further south along that line, south of Fredericksburg. This one's in the western part of Harrison County as we look towards around, let's say, west of Corydon, looking at potential for 60-mile-an-hour winds, and even west Brandenburg to your west only by around, let's say, 15 minutes before it's in your area. Irvington around 12 minutes, and Hardinsburg on top of you. Watching those storms as well, there is some or good signals for wind, and there's also still some subtle rotation that we've seen within the storms. Rick, what I want to do is I'm going to head over to the wall real quickly, and I want to track these storms as they move across the area so I can give some ETA time frames on when those storms move through. Rick, I'd like to go up and down the line, starting off, if we could, with our tornado warning that's in the northern part of Lawrence County. So as you can see, for reference, here's Bedford right here. Rick zooming into our storm. This is Lawrence County. Here's Popcorn. Here's the core of that storm. When we look at rotation in the storms, if you ever wonder, why is it not in the middle of the storm? Why do we not focus on where the brightest reds are? Because the core of the storm is where the downdraft is occurring. The rain-free base, which is the southwestern side of the storm, is normally where that rotation appears. Rick is showing you just northwest of Popcorn where the greens and the reds are right next to each other, indicating rotation. Looks like we just got a new scan on that one. Rick, let me go back to that one more time since we just got a new scan. Want to see if that rotation has come up or gone down a little bit. Based on my assessment, still very clearly looking at rotation, but I believe that rotation over the last scan has come down just a little bit, something we're watching. Generally, it looks like it's just on the northwest edge of our viewing area. I say this a lot of times. I understand that if you're in our main county, this is not affecting you. I get that you probably want to watch your program. but I have made it my career to, if you're in the biggest county or if you're in the smallest county, we're staying with you. And so what we're going to do is, as long as the threat we deem enough to threaten life and property, we're going to stay with it. Once we believe that threat has left our area, we will go back to programming. So 8 minutes from now in the Kirksville area, Victor 12 minutes from now. We're going to continue to look along the line because there again are severe thunderstorms just west of Louisville. A lot of people are wondering, when should I expect those severe storms? I'd like to start here by looking in Washington County, and we'll track those storms as they move through. Salem storms right now are very close to your area, moving off to the east. You can see a new scan here showing that the strongest of the winds will be in Salem and Washington County right now. Fredericksburg, we need to watch every area where you see one of these notches because sometimes you can get a quick little spin up. We've got an area of strong winds that's going just north of Corydon, so that's the northern part of Harrison County. If that storm holds together, I've got that in the Georgetown area in about 20 to 22 minutes from now. Corydon, you have about 6 minutes until the storm gets into your area. One of those notches just south of Corydon, we will watch. New Amsterdam through Irvington is where we've got the strong winds. Brandenburg, 8 minutes from now, strong winds. Irvington, about 6 minutes from now. If you're in areas like Muldrow, you probably have about 30 minutes. And if you're wondering if this holds together and could it hold together as it gets to Louisville, the answer is yes. One of the things that we note within the line, Rick, this has been kind of interesting as we've looked up and down this line. As we went back about 30 minutes, we had a ton of lightning within the line. The lightning is coming down just a little bit, and normally that means the intensity may be coming back just a touch. By the way, 2 minutes from now, Corydon, 10 in Corydon, 25 in Lanesville, and 42 in Silver Creek. But Rick, with that lightning coming down, I think we may be seeing a signal within these storms that they're weakening just a little. Not to let our guard down, but again, analysis of the storms.
And Mark, that would make sense because that's an area that got hit with quite a few bouts of rain today and some of the heavier rain on top of that. So yes, we do have this tornado warning. There are still signs of some solid rotation within that thunderstorm. But I also want to kind of point out that with that storm, that some of the rain is now coming in from the south and kind of contaminating and weakening that air down to the south. And that cooler air will kind of get ingested into that thunderstorm, that particular storm that has the tornado warning. And that's some good news because that will also help weaken the storm and bring down the rotation, something you definitely want to hear now at 7:42. Probably trying to relax, watch some TV. It's been a long day. A lot of kids back to school. So, yes, I would say stay in your safe place for the time being, but this isn't going to be an all-night thing. I do think we're going to see this storm probably next, let's say 20 minutes or so, start to decrease in intensity. Looking at the rotation, there is still some broad rotation within that, right where the greens and the reds come together. That's the spot we're watching most carefully. So it's honestly just outside that Lawrence County border, north of Popcorn, between Popcorn and Cincinnati along 69 right there. Watching that area carefully, Mark.
That really, you know, we always cover, obviously, our whole viewing area. We are responsible for everything within our viewing area. My feeling is this may get north of our area within about 10 to 15 minutes, and if that's the case, we would release back to programming. But we do want to watch that storm. The rotation is not as tight as it once was. Rick, just out of curiosity, as you look NECC, any indication that there is any debris within that storm? My sense is probably unlikely, but you're looking at it right now.
Yeah, not really seeing anything in terms of debris.
Okay.
This is something we look at. We tend to see different layers of radar, and what I want to show you is on the left-hand side, the velocities, kind of the wind specifically, pointing out the couplet, the area of rotation, and it's not really matching up per se with anything that tells me there's debris lofted in the air, because with the right-hand side, all those pinks tell you is how the particle size is behaving. If they are all the same size, then it's all pink. If they are different sizes, indicating debris has been lofted up in the air, we'll see those different colors, and we kind of see is a nice uniform pink inside that area of rotation, telling us it probably has not picked anything up. But needless to say, I mean, these are things you always take seriously. There's really no reason to risk your life and your family's life. Just play it safe, head downstairs, get underneath something. A new scan showing that rotation even further north and east, but still kind of trying to hold together just a little bit at this point. I mean, we're now 7:44, so this tornado warning continues for another 50 minutes or so. But now areas like Smithville, you got to think next in line who could see this thing. So it kind of is just outside the northern county,
really right on the edge.
It's just, yeah, it's really too close to for comfort here at this point. So just going to keep an eye on that storm as it goes north and west.
And one note here, National Weather Service has allowed all of our warnings here to expire at 7:45. We'll see if they decide to reissue on anything on the southern part of that line. The only thing that's in a warning right now within our viewing area is the extreme northern part of Lawrence County. My feeling is we would probably need to stay in that warning for maybe another 10 minutes or so. The area of rotation continues to be just north of our viewing area. I feel like probably 2 more scans in the National Weather Service would be allowed to expire that for Lawrence County. As it stands, still a tornado warning here for Lawrence County. Strongest rotation just north of our viewing area. So this is along the Monroe-Lawrence County line. Popcorn just to the north is where we have our rotation. I want to look and again scope within that storm to see over the last couple of scans, does the rotation look like it's gone up or down? 2 scans ago, 3 scans ago, the rotation was more significant. Still continues to rotate. I don't think there's any question that there's rotation within that storm. But it does look like it's coming down just a touch here. Strong thunderstorms no longer severe right now along Indiana 135. National Weather Service just put a status out as of 7:46 on the tornado warning. They're going to continue to allow this tornado warning to go through 8 p.m. Tornado warning at 7:45 will be continued through 8 p.m. Their wording is severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado was 11 miles southwest of the Bloomington area, moving east at 20 miles per hour. You know, on social media just a moment ago, somebody said, I appreciate, I've got family, or my son's up in Bloomington. I appreciate you guys covering the storm. And the core of this storm is going to go south of Bloomington. So if you have any family that is, or friends that are at IU and concerned about this storm hitting you, my sense right now is that the core, the area of rotation would stay well south. That said, let's continue down the line. Salem, you've got a strong thunderstorm moving through. Heavy rain right now approaching the Greenville area through Georgetown along 64. While this area is not severe, still some gusty winds possible in Corydon. Through Brandenburg, Irvington, and into Hardinsburg. There is more lightning on the southern part of the line. We are watching that portion of the line more closely. I believe that you have a better chance of seeing severe along and south of 64. And from a perspective of Louisville, what does this mean for Louisville? Rain, heavy rain, some thunderstorms moving through, gusty winds. They may not be severe necessarily, but I still think they're going to be strong. And Rick, you continue to look at the tornado warning here. I'm going to come back over to the analyst for you. And what you've got there is that rotation. We've noted this, but it is still just north of our viewing area. So it's just north of the Lawrence County line, more towards Monroe County, but it's within probably a mile of the county line.
Absolutely. In this sort of scenario, you might as well just go ahead, get downstairs, underneath something. You want to cover your head and just stay down there until this warning is allowed to expire, or we give you the green light and say, okay, everything's just fine, you can come out now. But for the time being, in extreme northwestern Lawrence County, this tornado warning continues, and now it's the only warning and the only show we have in town. Although, honestly, if you're south of I-64, kind of that area Mark just noted, do not let your guard down. There's still going to be a ton of rain, intense lightning. I mean, the lightning strikes are ferocious right now, hundreds and thousands of them down across southern Kentucky. In fact, I can give you an exact number, right around 1,000 within that cluster of thunderstorms, and that is all sliding off to the east. So if you're in Louisville Metro and you're thinking, how does this impact me? What does it mean for my evening? These storms are cruising along around 35 miles an hour and will probably be here within the next hour, hour 15 or so. I'd say anywhere in the neighborhood between 8 and 9 o'clock, and they will pack a punch whether they're severe or not. There will be some rain, there will be some wind, and there's going to be some lightning with these. Even if they decay and weaken quite a bit, they're still going to hold together enough where we get some rain here in the metro and some thunderstorms. So anyone who has some outdoor plans between 8 and 9 o'clock, things are going to get a little bit hectic for a while.
A new warning, by the way, just issued. It's a large one. This one's now approaching Louisville metro area. So new severe thunderstorm warning. The Weather Service went with a broad brush on this one. So they're going severe thunderstorm warning for a ton of counties here. This is Breckenridge, Meade, and Ohio County in Kentucky. Severe thunderstorm warning for Clark, Floyd, Harrison, Jefferson, and Scott County in Indiana. This one goes until 8:15. So is this one of those elevated severe thunderstorms with destructive winds? It is not. This is for 60-mile-an-hour winds, but now you're talking about very, very close to approaching metro Louisville area. Scottsburg, Borden, Charlestown will be included in this warning. What I'm going to do here quickly, Rick, let's track that line and go up and down it so I can give you ETA based on this new warning that is for winds up to 60 miles an hour. Obviously, we're watching all of these storms very closely. I'm trying my best with these storms to make sure we cover the whole area. We are watching that tornado warning very closely. Remember, note the rotation just mainly north of our viewing area by about 1 mile. I'll come back to that storm. But the new warning here puts it 6 minutes from now in the Greenville area. Borden, you've got 8 minutes from now until potentially up to 60-mile-an-hour winds. If you're in Scottsburg, when should I expect these storms? You should in 22 minutes. New Albany, you've got about 30 minutes from now until the storms get to you. In downtown Louisville, 41 minutes. So 41 minutes puts the storm in Louisville right around 8:31. Downtown Louisville, 8:30, strong winds possible. If they stay strong, the storms, remember that would then progress across the county. So that would be around the I-65 corridor in Louisville around, let me say around 8:40. That would then put it towards the eastern part of Jefferson County. I'd put around 8:50. Track on the southern part of the line, 2 minutes from now, Brandenburg. Brandenburg, prepare, winds to 60 miles an hour on your doorstep. Elizabeth, you've got 17 minutes until the strong winds get towards you. Remember, they could be 60. PRP, 28 minutes from now, which puts those storms right around the 8:20 to 8:30 time frame. Downtown Louisville, we said anywhere between 30 and 40 minutes is when they would be downtown. And then Radcliffe, I've had that question asked to me. ETA for you is 42, which puts that right around 8:33. That kind of covers where we have our severe thunderstorms that are moving across the area. We'll go back to that northern storm here. Rick, looks like still the core north, but let's do a scope on that storm. This being our viewing area right here, so this would be our Lawrence County area. You'll notice here's the core of the storm, and the rotation was here on the southwest side. Rick, let's rocket back 3 or 4 images so we can establish and show what the rotation looked like earlier, and you'll notice more intense greens and reds right next to each other. That was at 7:34. Now we'll expand that forward, and what you'll notice is as we look towards the current, the greens and reds are not as sharp and not really, it just simply is diffusing. So as of 7:50, the rotation about 1.5 miles north of our viewing area and moving away. Still a tornado warning on this storm through 8 p.m. Look, I have no desire to stay and cover up your programming. I also do have a responsibility for the lives in our viewing area. So until they drop that tornado warning, we're going to stay with it. That said, rotation to me, Rick, and I think you'd probably agree, looks like it is coming down just a touch. It still has been a trend that we've seen. I would say that the rotation is definitely not zero. It's still there. But it looks like that storm may be coming down in intensity, which kind of actually makes sense. The fuel that's getting pulled into that storm is getting rained down out ahead of it, and normally that brings intensity down.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of see lightning strikes. I mean, even if I go back a little bit, there were quite a few lightning strikes. Look at what happened along 69, along 445, just to the west of Popcorn. There's a ton of lightning out there. We scanned forward, even within the last 15 minutes, and those lightning strikes, while they're still there are not as many showing up on your TV screen, which is a very, very good sign. The storm is weakening, and the reason for that, which Mark alluded to, is that you look down to the south, and there are these showers now going up and blossoming to the south of that, and the storm is ingesting or inhaling that air down to the south. And when you cool it down a little bit, it really helps weaken that thunderstorm. It looks like we're going to see that trend continue, which is some great news for areas right along 37, just to the south of Clear Creek through Victor, because that kind of tells you while the storm is still intense and you still need to be in your safe place, it is in a weakening phase. And that's something that you want to hear at this point in time, considering it's your evening. You probably want to go back to whatever it is that you're doing. But for the time being, this tornado warning continues for another 7 minutes or so. So until that tornado warning expires, I need you to just play it safe and remain downstairs. Hopefully you have a basement, but if not, what you need to do is find an interior room, maybe a bathroom, but whatever room has as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Hopefully a smaller room with some plumbing, maybe like your bathroom. That's probably your safest bet. But I would just say stay there until this warning is allowed to expire. And again, it's about 2 to 3 miles now, that rotation, just to the north of the border of Lawrence County and just to the south of Bloomington.
You know, in my opinion, I think at this point we probably should remove Lawrence County from the warning. Once the National Weather Service, or if they do remove the county, we will go back to programming. I want to get back as quick as I can, obviously, if we can clear the county. That said, you know, if it was your child in the northern part of Lawrence County and they're hearing the tornado sirens go off and they are concerned or scared for their life, I think you get that those decisions are lifelong decisions. It's not something that's small. If the tornado warning is allowed to expire for Lawrence County, we will go back immediately to programming. As it stands right now, I have messaged the National Weather Service. My opinion is that the rotation is going to miss Lawrence County, stay off to the north, and I was asking them if they're going to remove Lawrence County from the warning. Have not got a response as of yet right now, but we are watching that storm. Also, severe thunderstorms are now not that far from Louisville Metro. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning about 6 miles west of Scottsburg, so that storm's probably about 10-15 minutes from Scottsburg, about 10 to 12 from I-65 as we look north of Silver Creek, including the Henryville area. Storms approaching downtown Louisville have had a signal of up to 60-mile-per-hour winds. That has not really changed. It's in Corydon as we speak right now. Brandenburg through Irvington and Hardinsburg, we've got severe thunderstorm warning in effect for you as the storms approach. In Metro Louisville, we're probably talking around 8:30 when the storms would get towards downtown Louisville. It is certainly conceivable. And we know that the National Weather Service tends to be a little bit more liberal with warnings in Louisville. Rick, you and I talk about this a lot, but there's a lot of people in Louisville. And what happens is, you know, if a tree falls in the middle of woods in a rural county, nobody may ever know. Almost every time we get a thunderstorm moving through Louisville, there's almost always some damage in the county, even if it's just your regular storm. So in a sense, you can actually verify these warnings simply more easily in Louisville, and we get warnings that are a little bit more common. As we look across the area, we still have strong storms ongoing. The one tornado warning to our north, Rick, that's the only tornado warning, and we're just watching up and down that line.
Right, and Mark, I'm kind of curious. We could probably pull up tower cam as well, looking westbound. And we're probably going to see quite the electric show going on off to the west with all that lightning that you see going on Stormview HD right now. Along with that lightning, there's rainfall. Rainfall rates probably estimated there could be 3-4 inches per hour. Very, very intense rainfall. So there's a shot off to the west. You can see those clouds lowering. Just saw a flash of lightning reflecting off the glass of that building there, but some storms brewing, 79 degrees, dew point around 70, and we mentioned that southeast wind, Mark, because that kind of tells us the winds, like you said, are backing, and that can help intensify that severe weather potential. But we have severe thunderstorms coming in from the west, some rain off in the distance, and quite a bit of rainfall expected as well. We're watching the tornado warning specifically, Mark, because that's why we're here, that's why we're cutting in, and you have a new status with that as well.
And I told you guys very clearly that the second the tornado warning was allowed to expire, we would send you back to programming. We are at 7:57, National Weather Service at 7:56 allowed the tornado warning to expire for Lawrence County. I agree with that. Watching strong storms right now west of Louisville. Clark, Floyd, Harrison County remain under severe thunderstorm warnings. Those severe thunderstorm warnings extend south of the river. They are west of Louisville. Rick, we are watching those storms very closely with the tornado warning being allowed to expire for our northern part of our viewing area. We will continue to watch. We will update through social media, and we'll have an update on WDRB News at 10. So keep it right here on WDRB for continuing weather updates.